All right, guys. Well, I'm back today with a really awesome 380 pistol. We are looking at the brand new Beretta 80X Cheetah with the Desert Tactical finish. It's optics cut, threaded barrel, and 15 round mags. This thing packs a punch for a mid-size 380. I want to give a huge shout out to Beretta for sending this out to the channel at my request. I put in my request for this for a T&E sample. I don't have to send it back, so thanks to Beretta for that. I've been running it a lot. Also, want to give a huge shout out to AAC Ammo for sponsoring the 380 to help make this video. I ran a lot of 380 through this handgun, and we'll talk a little bit more about the specs and features, performance and reliability, but also why you would want a tactical kind of mid-size 380 pistol. There's a lot of reasons, and it's not just because of lighter recoil. Let's start off by talking about the basic specs and features and what's included in the box. You get the pistol, 2 magazines, the gun lock, and sold separately is the optics plate system. This one is fitted with an RMSC optics plate, and on top of that, I actually have the Cat EDG, which is a full-size RMSC optic, which works out great for the top of this Beretta 80X. Now, this one has a pick rail at the front, threaded barrel by 1/2x28 threads, and you have the safety decocker built into the back. The ergonomics on this handgun are absolutely great. Now, I wear size large mechanics gloves, so if you had a little bit larger hand, you still have a little bit of meat on the bottom with the extensions on the mag, making them 15 rounds. Really nice aggressive texturing on the back and front and side panels. And if you've ever fired a Beretta, you'll know that they have really good ergonomics in general. Beretta knows what they're doing. I was talking to somebody today at a local shop of just how much I like Beretta 92 handguns, and this really feels like a smaller size Beretta 92. You move up to the trigger guard and it flows really nicely into the grip with a slight undercut, allowing you to get a good high hold. And on the back, you have a nice beaver tail that protects your hand from slide bite and still getting a high hold as well. The pick rail does a good job of mounting whatever lights or lasers you want up at the front, which I feel like is a very key component of this particular handgun, especially with the threaded barrel. Now, the threaded barrel is 1/2x28, so it's going to accept all standard 1/2x28 muzzle devices and whatever cans you want to throw on the end. Now, I ran this with a few different cans, including the Rugged 9 in a smaller configuration, as well as the new Dead Air. And this guy right here is going to be the Mojave 9, which is a flow-through style 9mm can. This is available in short and long. I have it in the long configuration right now, and it worked out great with both the long flow-through and the shorter K-can without any issues whatsoever. I'm going to finish the specs and features and talk about that more in a second. Now, the slide itself has very nice slide serrations, very easy to cock the firearm. The mag release is tucked out of the way. The mags drop free, and these do have the base plate to go from 13 to 15 rounds. Now, the decocker on this handgun works out great. So when you're putting on your safety, you fully click up and it decocks the handgun. So now you have a dead trigger. You can easily flip that safety off from either side, so it's ambi. You have a very smooth take up. You hit a defined wall, and now you're pulling back the hammer. But that trigger pull is super smooth on this handgun. Now, from there in the single action, you have a very smooth take up. You hit a defined wall near the back of the trigger guard, and a very crisp pull. Again, if you've shot Berettas, this is very familiar with a lot of the more performance-based 92 triggers. You have the slide lock and slide release right here. Works out really well, super good texturing. And then like all of the Beretta 92s, you have the open top design, which aids in reliability. And that's pretty much the basic specs and features of the handgun. Now, how does it work down at the range? Well, 100% functional. With the AAC ammo that I used, I had zero issues whatsoever. Ran some hollow points through it. Again, no issues whatsoever there. It just runs, and I expect that out of a more premium Beretta. I've really never had any reliability issues with Berettas, especially that 92 or M9 style design, and it kind of translates over to this 80X. Now, the 380 is going to be a different round, so you can't really translate all of the reliability from the M9 and the 92 to the 380, but it seemed to work out great. Very reliable with and without a can on the end, and that's the next thing I want to talk about, kind of why you would want something like this. For me, you have a Very light recoil impulse with the 380. You have a smaller, more manageable gun without a large recoil impulse, because if you were to shrink a 9mm gun down to this size, you'd have a pretty stout recoil impulse unless the engineers are doing something amazing. So you get a very manageable gun. A lot of times when I'm taking newer shooters down to the range, they pick up a handgun and they're like, man, that's heavy. Oh man, I'm struggling to keep it up when it's a full-size metal 9mm. And I'm like, well, here, try this lighter weight, maybe Smith & Wesson Shield or SIG P365 or even a Glock 19, something like that. They're like, oh yeah, this feels better. Then they pull the trigger and like, whoa, no, that's too much recoil. So it's a very fine balance of getting a solid feeling handgun that absorbs recoil, yet still being manageable to hold for some newer shooters. And that's where this really fits the bill perfectly. 15 rounds of modern loaded 380 works out pretty well. This would also be good for a home defense pistol, especially with the addition of an optic and a light on the bottom and potentially even a can. Or if you wanted to play James Bond, this would work out great as well. So as a practical defensive handgun, whether it's in your nightstand, in your car, or some type of full-size personal defense weapon for somebody who wants a little bit smaller framed gun with manageable recoil, this is a great option. The other great option is for suppressor users, because 380 is generally subsonic, going anywhere from 900 to 1,000 feet per second out of the box. A little bit slower with the 100 grain ammo, a little bit faster with 90 grain ammo, but all mostly going subsonic, so you don't get the crack or the sonic boom of the bullet coming from the end of the gun, so it's a lot quieter, and this suppresses really nicely. 100% functional, great recoil management, great adaptability with the threaded barrel pick rail and optics cut. I like it. I absolutely love this Beretta 80X, and I'm glad I requested this one from Beretta because it lived up to my expectations. A lot of times I'll ask for guns, and they're good, but they maybe let me down in certain areas. This one absolutely killed it. I love the Beretta 80X, and this is really, for me, kind of like my go-to mid-size 380, and it's really convenient that you don't have to buy specialty ammo to run a can. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Would you ever consider purchasing a 380 other than a pocket 380? I really, really want to hear your thoughts. Thanks for watching. Thanks to Beretta, and thanks to AAC. Have a good one.